Okay, I think this is going to be a horsemanship vlog. I was just thinking, okay, I was listening to a video. I'm not going to say I wasn't, and I was listening to pick up tips. I think a lot about Warwick Schiller because he's so popular, and I have got some really great ideas off of him. Because he has, for one thing, he's trying to do some things more similar to the way we're doing them. Kind of inching towards the Harry Whitney school of thought. He definitely, there's still a place where there's something not quite right, or maybe it's more not quite in line, and it's difficult to articulate. I mean, I know it has to do with just leaving stuff in the horse still, and then it's a timing thing too, like where they release isn't always where you would think, although that could be partially because you can't judge him based, well, you can, but somebody else, when I see most of it, it's that somebody else watched it and reinterpreted it. Maybe that's not what he meant. Maybe they just interpreted it wrong, or they're practicing it wrong. So, and personally, I think there's a danger in there. But what I was just thinking about this morning is that this guy, because I watched a 10-minute video and there were 6 ads in it, and they weren't even the ones that you can skip through. So this guy has a membership community. I don't know how many people are in the membership. I think it's like $15 a month. It's not a huge amount, which is what horse people are like, cool, $15 a month for some great videos. Sign me up. And if you notice, a couple other trainers have started to do the same thing to kind of have some extra income. I'm sure there's more of them than I'm aware of. I just noticed that both Ross Jacobs and Josh Nickel in the last 6 months launched subscription services, and so, which on YouTube. So, but what I was thinking was, because Warwick is getting more popular, and I think on the whole that's a good thing. I think maybe some of the downsides are, one, you couldn't possibly know everything you need to. It gives it a false impression that you're learning a lot more than you are from those YouTube videos, because there's such a lack of completeness and such a lack of context. And I think too, it opens up, especially some of the videos when he's like, "Let the horse bite you." That scares me. I think that it's really easy to misinterpret his work and then get hurt. And I'm watching one person in particular kind of go down that path. Now, I don't think it's made her horse any worse. Her horse already had most of these issues. But I still think that it's not. The trouble is with that horse, it's going to get worse before it gets better. It's one of those things, or at least it's going to look worse. Although I believe that there's a place on the other side of it, and I don't think it would even take that mare very long to find. So, in any case, what it dawned on me this morning is this guy's super popular. He's got to be making money from YouTube too, in addition to his $15 a month from I don't know how many subscribers. I should do the math. Well, it's if he has 1,000 subscribers, he makes $1,500 a month on that. I don't know if that's true, but that's I bet he has more than that. That's a pretty good amount of subscribers. Now, he has some costs involved, because I don't think he trains horses for the public anymore other than at clinics. I think he mostly just does clinics and YouTube. But he's also clearly making some money off of YouTube, or those ads wouldn't be in there. So it just had me thinking about that, and that's when I thought to myself, this guy's a YouTuber. He's a social influencer. Like, if I was to say, like, if I'm trying to describe who he is, that's what I realize is a better definition for him than horse trainer at this point. He's a YouTuber, and it just blows my mind that we're in a world where, well, I mean, I guess YouTubers have a lot of social influence, right? And what he's done extremely effectively is market. He's managed to become a social influencer in the horse world on YouTube. And that might have started, I suspect, as a way to market his clinics. The clinics are popular enough that he made them subscriber only. Now, that's kind of a double win if you're Warwick Schiller, because you can fill the you have enough subscribers to fill the clinics, and you can say that you did that just so that you're only getting people who have some kind of basic understanding. But it also encourages people who want to go to the clinics to subscribe, because you can't go to the clinic if you don't subscribe. So you're building, not only are you getting the clinic money, you're also building the subscription money. It's a really smart marketing plan. So I was just thinking about that, because, you know, some of his stuff isn't really that earth-shattering. Like, now I do think he goes back to something that's really important that a lot of people aren't doing, which is that he is, especially in the last year, really just the horse 6 months, just going back to getting the tension out of the horse, which I think is like the underpinning of everything and such a good foundation to be laying. I would agree with him about that. So he's got to be doing something well, I think that's a service to the horse community, because most of the time you see horses just going around just like a total mess. Although I say that, and I guess I don't know what's really going on inside of some people, because there's a couple Warwick followers at my barn. Maybe one person's more serious than the other people, but I don't think that the depth of understanding is there. I think that person really misreads their own horse and mistakes. I think that person doesn't really understand what's going on with their own horse, and so they think that horse is worried when that horse is really just taking over. And like, that horse is very, very, the horse does have some worry in it, but it's not very much. And you know, so that person is kind of has no boundaries with the horse, which creates a lot of issues for the horse. And also everyone around the horse. And then, but here's what I've been wondering too, and it's actually not related to Warwick Schiller. Do people see this stuff? Maybe and I wonder if maybe he needs to make a video about, hey, here's how you see the tension in the horse. You know, see how it's holding its tail, see how it's holding its neck, see what it's doing with its jaw. People were really quick to latch on to the yawning thing because it's so clear. But yawning means a lot of different stuff, and you don't always know until later if that horse yawned because it was letting go of worry, or because it was actually stressed in the moment. I think oftentimes you don't know how much that horse has let go until later. Sometimes you can tell in the moment. But horses yawn for a lot of different reasons. And then sometimes I think it's a little bit of a habit. Like, Wyatt has a habit that at first I was trying to break, and now I've realized, okay, that's not something I think it's a habit, and I think it's a harmless habit, so it might not be even worth thinking about. He doesn't yawn before I go to halter him in his pen, but in the round pen, when I go to put the halter back on after he's been loose, he'll yawn, and he might yawn 3 times, he might yawn 13 times, but it's a lot. And I think that is a letting go for him, but I think he's developed a habit where he feels like he can only yawn in those moments, and it's kind of like for him, like, oh, I'm done now, and I'm really changing things up. So I've been playing with different things to kind of work on that, but I do think it's also just a really ingrained habit, and it doesn't necessarily mean that I was super effective that day. That's just a place where that horse, he's been run to death in the round pen. And I've known that for a long time, but every time I peel off a little layer or change my own understanding, I find I find a different piece of it to look at. I'm not going to say, I think 2 or 3 years ago, I don't think I knew how deep it was until 2 or 3 years ago. Now I feel like I know how deep it is, which is it goes to the very bottom. But I understand it in different ways. So, and actually I wonder if I could ask Julie some questions about that particular thing, because he has one of the things that I've been struggling with him lately is that when I go to send him off around the pen, sometimes if he's wide awake, he might feel like he needs to just, really get out of there, even if I don't do very much. I don't have to send him very hard. If I point and move my energy a little bit. So that, I just even saying that though, I'm like, maybe I just don't need to point. Maybe just moving my energy is enough for him. So anyway, I can't remember exactly how, I do remember, but I kind of got off track here with my video, but I've just been thinking about that, and about, I think that a lot of people miss all those little signs, like, So I'm thinking of somebody else that really wants to get all this stuff, or at least to a degree. I think this person wants to get it, but also still wants to go do all the other things, and so maybe they don't sometimes they slow down way a lot when they feel like they're in danger, but other times they have a specific habit of, if the horse can kind of get through it, they kind of push the horse, they kind of get the horse through it. They're only applying the Warwick stuff, the Harry stuff, some of the time. And I'm not sure that bothers the horses too much, except that it leads you to situations like yesterday. They were riding a horse that was like doing a slow runoff, and that is a spot that's in that horse so much further back than where it was coming up in the training. But I could also see it's tough because that particular horse is owned by somebody who really wants to get it jumping. And don't get me wrong, it's been jumping for the last 6 years, but when you jump it, it has a tendency to slow run off with you. So it's not really that great. This horse just figured out how to canter both ways in July. It's 12. Because of the holes that people left in it, right? Not because there's something wrong with the horse. But I'm just thinking about how easy it is to accept stuff only to a point. And maybe that's from a marketing standpoint, that's kind of the genius of the Warwick stuff, because I could apply it here, but I don't have to apply it somewhere else. Whereas, if I'm going to go down Harry's route, I'm probably all in. Well, fuck, I didn't make it out here. I am here at 8:27, and there's already somebody ahead of me in the round pen. I don't even know what to do anymore.